Hey, what's up guys, my name is Jedi. Today we're looking at the top 10 facts about Apple that you may or may not have known. So let's get into it. So the name Apple. So Steve Jobs, who's the creator of Apple, he liked the apple fruit a lot. So that's pretty much it. The name Apple, one of the biggest companies, is named after a guy's liking for fruit. So yeah, that's it. There's no like big connection to like the apple's layers, and some people think that it's like, oh my god, like an apple, like you cut in and you go to the seed, and it's like related to like the OS of the systems. But no, it's super simple. Apple, his favorite fruit. This next one is if you're an Apple computer user, but you smoke. So they do have a no smoking ban on their computers. So if you smoke and you use your computers, your warranty for anything you had, if you got a warranty, it's not valid anymore. So you can't go like, so even if you like, let's just say that a keyboard, like a small key broke, and if you go in to like an Apple company and they inspect it and they see that there's smoking traces on it, they won't fix it for you. Well, they will fix it for you, but your warranty wouldn't cover it because Apple says no smoking and they actually put a ban on it for people who use their computers. The next fact is that Apple is so successful that it has twice the amount of money that the U.S. Treasury has. So U.S. Treasury, one of the biggest bank funds, all the money in that combined times two is what the Apple entire company has, which means that Apple pretty much outowns the U.S. Treasury. So Apple could pretty much be their own government fund. Apple has enough excess capital, so they have about $150 billion, and that money that's enough to buy companies like Netflix, Tesla, Twitter, all these companies which we think are really big. Apple has enough excess capital to buy those companies. So the logo is really famous. It's the bin apple, but the very first logo ever created by Apple actually featured a drawing by Sir Isaac Newton himself. So Apple was the very first to create their own digital color camera, which kind of astonished me because Apple's a phone company, and not a real phone company. They're like a complete device company, but to think that the very first digital color camera came from a phone company, pretty much, or a device company, it's really cool. Apple could be its own country. So if Apple was a country, it would be the world's 27th largest country, and it would be right in between Venezuela and Belgium. So Apple is so big that they could pretty much be their own country. So I guess people are going to start referring to them as the country of Apple. So the CEO, Steve Jobs, even though he has a net worth of $7 billion, he was technically paid $1 as a salary. That way he could be eligible for the health benefits that the company offers, which is pretty funny. But it's kind of like the Trump situation, where President Trump only gets paid $1 because that's the minimum you can pay a president, and so it's pretty cool that Steve Jobs only gets paid $1. Like I mentioned before, the $150 billion that they have in excess capital, Apple could use that and give $490 to each U.S. citizen, which would help a lot. But yeah, it's pretty funny though, because they have enough money to pretty much give everybody $500. In the early stages, to raise money for Apple, the co-founder Steve Wozniak, so it was Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, so Wozniak had to sell his scientific calculator to raise capital for Apple. I think now he has enough money to buy his scientific calculator. With the very first Apple iPod, they had an Easter egg. So you could go to the general settings. So if you have an Apple iPod, the very first one, and you didn't do any software updates, which I'm pretty sure none of you guys have it, but if you do, but for some odd reason, like you're a collector, you can go to general, you can go to about, and then you could hold the center button for 4 seconds straight, and then you get the breakout game, which when Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak worked in Atari, which is their old company, there was a game there. It's called the Breakout, and you could play that game if you have the iPod. Including with Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, there was another guy, and his name was Haynes. His last name's Haynes. So he used to be in the company, and he left after 12 days, and he sold his shares for about $600. And if he stayed right now, he would have made $60 billion. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know, if you knew all these facts. I'm sure all of you guys knew these facts. If you didn't, make sure you guys leave that down in the comment section below that you didn't know some of these facts. And make sure you guys subscribe, okay? It's really important. Other than that, thank you.